Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today our group will present our assignment titled Manufacturing an Ethical Way Through the Malaysian Standard. The content of our assignment are: first, introduction of manufacturing; second, general elements of manufacturing; third, manufacturing aspect in food and beverages; fourth, manufacturing in slaughterhouse; fifth, manufacturing in halal cosmetics; 6. Manufacturing in pharmacy; and lastly, manufacturing in halal medical device. Next, I will introduce you guys to our team members. First, ZAIRUL IQUWAN bin Zul BAHARI. Second, Muhammad FAKHRUR bin Muhammad PAUZI. Third, QURRATU'AINI binti HASSAN. Fourth, QURRATU'AINI MUSFIRAH binti KASTAMY. Fifth, FAZIMA binti Ali. And lastly, SITI ANISYAH binti JAPANIE. As I complete with group members' introduction, without further ado, I present you guys our first presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is ZAIRUL IQUWAN bin Zul BAHARI, and I will start with the introduction. Manufacturing related to step-by-step process to make product for the customer from raw material to finished product, while ethics related to morals or good behavior and attitude in doing something. So, when we combine these two definitions, we got that the ethical manufacturing related to the holistic approach to the manufacturing process that focuses on good health and halal integrity of the goods and services. So, in Malaysia, we have a lot of standard related to halal scheme that can help the manufacturer to make product that fulfill the requirement from authorized body. Objective of the study: first, to discuss the main element of manufacturing; second, to analyze element of manufacturing according to Malaysian standard; and last, to know the importance of practicing the ethical method of manufacturing approved by authorized body.
Do you want to know what it is?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is QURRATU'AINI binti HASSAN, and today I would like to continue our presentation with general requirements of manufacturing. So basically, there are four main components that are very significant in a manufacturing process. And the first one is sourcing. So sourcing is the main element in a manufacturing. According to MTPHM 2020, sourcing shall be obtained from a particular sources or a manufacturer must be detailed where the source is obtained, meaning that the sources must be derived from halal sources and does not cause harm, intoxicant, and no pollution. Each raw material shall be able to identify the original supplier or producer of the raw materials to ensure that the sources are derived from halal sources. As being mentioned in MS 2400 Part 3, 2019, the manufacturer shall monitor the performance of its outsourced partners as well to ensure halal compliance, operational control, and all existing regulatory criteria are met. This is to avoid cross-contamination between non-halal and halal materials. Meanwhile, according to MS 1500/2009, sourcing for halal food refers to foods and beverages which the ingredients have been approved by Sharia law and fatwa. And for animal sources, the animal must be slaughtered first before it can be used. In addition, the sources must not contain with najis according to Sharia law, and anything that can cause harm, poisonous to human health, and contradict with Sharia law. To be specific in terms of najis, it also includes items that are already contaminated with non-halal, such as carrion, khamar, as well as food and beverages that are mixed with liquor or khamar. So, the sources must be derived from halal components, and it must be safe to consume. So, non-halal materials, ingredients are strictly prohibited in halal manufacturing. Next is processing. So, according to MPPHM 2020, processing is an activities that are related to the preparation and processing of raw materials, products, menus, or services that must meet the requirement of law, Islamic law, legislation, and regulations in force. Meaning that processing also has its own procedure that a manufacturer must follow. Next, according to MS 2400 Part 1 2019, processing is all inbound and outbound materials, processes, products, goods, and services in processing, and it should be detailed in documentation for extent necessary to conduct the risk analysis, meaning that processing also need to be documented for future use. Meanwhile, for MS 1500 and 2019, it discussed on processing area, which is it is an area that is intended for all operation processing that is involved in the preparation of halal food, starting from raw materials until the finished goods. So, processing is just not on the process, but it also include the environment of the processing area, which is the cleanliness of the processing area as well, which is the processing area need to comply with good hygiene practice and also good manufacturing practice, so that the contamination between halal and non-halal items products is not occurred. So the third general requirement of manufacturing is handling. So according to Malaysian Standard Transportation, warehousing and retailing, handling is to prevent contaminated or affected products, goods, or cargo from being released to end users or customer. So, doubtful products, goods, or cargo that is considered doubtful because the items have been contaminated with non-halal materials, or the control measures are not seriously taken, being applied, or effectively implemented. So, what to do is the doubtful product must be segregated and be quarantined for filtration, as well as it is being recorded. So, a documented procedure must be established and maintained. So, to conclude, the infected or affected items, goods, or cargo must be isolated and sent to the internal halal committee for review, and they will decide the corrective action so that the issue can be resolved. And lastly is storage. So according to MPPHM 2020, only raw materials and halal items, including trading products, should be stored, meaning that storage of raw materials, finished products, apparatus, equipment, it should be segregated and be labeled. And raw materials and completed products should not be stored along with equipment that is not related to product processing or manufacturing. So it must be segregated. In addition, the storage area also must be in clean and orderly condition at all times. It is to make things easier, especially for the first in, first out process. So to conclude, all supplies and products should be neatly organized and regulated. And if there is contamination happen between non-halal and halal products, certain process should be carried out.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti ANISYAH binti JAPANIE. I will talk about MS 1500 and 2019. Okay, basically this MS is about halal food, general requirement, third revision. Okay, first is sources of halal food. Okay. The first sources of halal food is animal and divided into two, which is first land animal. All land animal are halal except The first, animal that not slaughtered by according to Islamic law and fatwa. Next is najis al-mukhalazah animal such as pig and dog. And then animal with long pointed teeth or tusks which is used to kill prey such as tiger and lion. And then predatory bird like eagle. Then pests or poisonous animal like snake or cockroach. Animal that are forbidden to be killed in Islam like bee and hudhud. And then farmed animal which are internally and continually fed by najis. And lastly, other animal that are forbidden to be eaten in according to Sharia law or fatwa. Okay, and other sources of halal food is plant and microorganism, mineral and chemical, beverage and genetically modified organism, or as known as GMO. Also, this halal food are halal to be eat except if they are poisonous or hazardous to our health. Okay. Next is product manufacturing, handling and serving. All processed halal food during its preparation, processing, handling, packaging, storing, distributing or serving shall meet the following requirement. First, it shall not using any component or product or animal that are non-halal or non-slaughtering according to Sharia law and fatwa. And then it not be processed using anything in any quantity that declares as najis. Also, it must be the processing food or its ingredients shall be safe to be consumed, non-poisonous, non-intoxicant, and non-hazardous to health. And lastly, the food shall be prepared, processed, or manufacturing using equipment and facility that are free from najis or contamination. And then storage, transportation, display, sale, and serving of halal food. Okay. Basically, all halal foods that are stored, transport, displayed, sold, or served must be categorized and labeled as halal. Okay. The transportation vehicle shall be dedicated and appropriate to the type of the halal food, certify hygiene and sanitation condition. Okay, lastly is packaging and labeling. Halal food shall be suitably packed. Okay, packaging material shall be halal in nature and must fulfill the following requirement. First, during the preparation, processing, storage, or transportation, it shall be physically separate from any other thing that have been declared by najis, such as najis mukhalazah or blood and others. Second is, it is not prepared, processed, or manufactured using equipment that is contaminated with things that are najis or declared by Sharia law. Third is, the packaging material shall not made from any raw material that are declared as najis. Fourth, the packaging material shall not have any toxin effect on the halal food. And lastly, packaging design, sign, symbol, logo, name, and picture shall not misleading or contravening the principle of Sharia law.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is QURRATU'AINI MUSFIRAH and I will proceed our presentation with the manufacturing and slaughtering. The slaughtering process can be defined as an act to kill an animal alive by severing the trachea, halcum, and esophagus. This method of slaughtering should be done in form of single cutting without lifting the knife before finishing to cut the required part. Okay, these two parts are mandatory to be cut, since if either one of them is not fully cut, the slaughtered animal are considered as not halal and illegal to consume. In addition, there are two more parts, carotid arteries and jugular veins, vagina, that are needed to be cut to fasten the blood flow. If trachea and esophagus are not fully cut, then the slaughter process is considered invalid and the animal would be illegal to consume. Next, we move on to manufacturing aspect in slaughtering. First, sourcing. The livestock should be healthy and approved by the authorized authority. The employee also who is responsible must prepare the documents regarding the health condition of the livestock before carrying out the slaughtering process. Before the slaughtering process, the responsible workers should make sure the livestock are in hayah mustakirah, where they are still fully alive. This is because livestock that is not alive before slaughtering process is considered as carcass and haram to consume. The categories of animal halal to be slaughtered are: first, ruminants such as cows, buffaloes, goat, and second is poultry such as chickens, ducks, and rabbits. Next, we move on to the second elements, which is processing. These elements involve of three stages. First is pre-slaughtering. In these stages, utensils should come from pure materials such as iron and metal. Other sources such as bones, nails, and teeth are prohibited to be used. Before slaughtering process, the workers have to make sure utensils such as knife and blades are being used to slaughter to be sharp. If the knife or blade is not sharp, they can torture and hurt animals. It will postpone the death process of the animals because the veins are not completely severed. Other than that, the utensil should be free from najis such as blood, impurities, and other type of najis. If it is found that the utensil used have been contaminated with najis mughallazah, then it should be served under the supervision of an authoritative party. Next is in slaughter process. In this process, the slaughtering process should be conducted by an individual Muslim who is mentally sound, baligh, independent, and has already undergone the training. This is because they already have knowledge related to the slaughter according to the guidelines set by the authorities. Other than that, the slaughter process should be done with niyah, which is intention to perform slaughter in the name of Allah, such as Bismillahi Allahu Akbar, and recommended to face the Qiblah. By assigning person who know how to carry out slaughter process, non-conformance can be prevented during the slaughter process. The reduction of carcass after the slaughter process and indirectly wastage of livestock also can be avoided. Next, we move on to the last element in manufacturing. Animals that have been slaughtered should be taken into an account, as contamination can easily occur at this stage. Therefore, halal animals to be stored or sold should be separated and labeled so that they do not mix with non-conformance products. On the other hand, cartons that contain non-conformance meat should be clearly labeled and stored in other separate places to prevent contamination to occur. In addition, employees should play important role to constantly check the storage area to be clean from najis and elements that can harm the purity of halal meat. The packaging used to store the pack the fresh meat should not be made from najis or toxic ingredient that may harm for human consumption. Fresh meat is categorized as highly perishable food. Therefore, the meat's pH should be at appropriate level, because if it is lower than it should be, the possibility for bacterial reproduction of toxin to produce will be at a great stake. So therefore, fresh meat should be stored frozen with the right temperature control to secure the safety and quality of the meat. Other than that, meat should be stored in the right temperature that suits the types of meat to reduce the possibility of production of bacteria in meat. Lastly, in order to maintain the freshness and quality of the meat, the first in and first out concept should be applied.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad FAKHRUR bin Muhammad PAUZI. So today, I'm going to present about the manufacturing in halal cosmetic. The term of cosmetic involves a wide variety of items that include cleaning, body part, improving features and altering tones and colors, such as cosmetic, perfume, toothpaste, shampoo and deodorant. This is based on the article Akmar Zaidun and Hashima Hashim 2018. Based on MS 2634 2019, the term of cosmetic means any substance or preparation intended to be placed in contact with the various external parts of the human body, including epidermis, hair system, nail, lips, external genital organs. The main reference for the halal cosmetic is MS 2634 2019 Halal Cosmetic General Requirements First Revision. Another supporting reference that used in halal cosmetic is Control Drug and Cosmetic Regulation 1984 and Guideline for Control of Cosmetic Product in Malaysia 2017. Move on to another slide, which is manufacturing in halal cosmetic. Basically, there are two terms that has been described by MPRA 2017 and MS 634 2019. According to MPRA 2017, Guideline for Control of Cosmetic states a manufacturer is a company which is engaged in any process carried out in the course of making the cosmetic product. The manufacturing process includes all operation of purchase of starting material, bulk intermediate and product formulation and production, such as grinding, mixing, encapsulation and or packaging. Quality control, release, storage and distribution of cosmetic product and the related control. However, in MS 2634 2019, Clausa 3.5, the manufacturing means that the complete set of activities to produce a product comprising of production and quality control from acquisition of all raw material through process and subsequent packaging and release for distribution of the finished product. Let's move on to another slide, which is element of manufacturing. Basically, there are three elements of manufacturing, which is sourcing, processing, and also storage. So right now, I will explain more about the sourcing. Firstly, source of halal cosmetic are based on synthetic or natural. The natural source are including land and aquatic animal, plant, microorganism, mineral and chemical, soil and water, genetically modified organism or called as GMO, alcohol, synthetic and others, as long as they are not hazardous and dangerous. Halal cosmetic also use of collagen. Hence, the use of collagen and placenta from pigs and animals they are not slaughtered are not allowed. Since anything human origin is prohibited in halal practice, therefore, human placenta, human hair, and crystal are not allowed in halal cosmetic. The use of cosmetic products produced through synthetic is halal except those that are harmful and contain najis. For example, the use of synthetic alcohol or called as denatured alcohol, which be used source of alcoholic beverages, hamar. Okay, now I will explain more about the processing in halal cosmetic. Firstly, all cosmetic products are halal if they meet the MS 2634/2019 requirements, which are processing plant, tools and utensils should be dedicated for halal production only. The process of halal cosmetic must be complied with guidelines for cosmetic good manufacturing practice, or called as GMP, Guideline for Control of Cosmetic Product in Malaysia from MPRA, and Malaysian Standard. Ingredient and raw material, personal hygiene, cleanliness of the premise or industry and others must be complied in the ethics of halal cosmetic processing, starting from the initial phase, which is from the receiving raw material, the phase during processing and after processing. Proceed to the last part, which is storage. Firstly, storage areas need to be in adequate capacity to permit beginning and packaging materials, intermediate, bulk and finished merchandise, gadget in quarantine, and release, rejected, returned or recalled merchandise be saved in suitable quantities. In addition, to ensure the proper storage condition, storage rooms need to be built and altered. Moreover, product storage area should be separated from raw materials and other materials storage area to avoid cross-contamination. Last but not least, the storage capacity must be sufficient. The temperature and humidity should be suitable for the type of product and be continuously monitored from time to time.
Okay, hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is FAZIMA binti Ali. For my part, I will explain the manufacturing in pharmaceuticals. As we know, the term pharmaceuticals refer to the manufacturing and distribution of medications and drugs. Humans have used medication from various sources such as plants, medicines, and minerals since the beginning of time. Each compound or formulation used for the treatment or prevention of disease is referred to as a pharmaceuticals. They are intended for human or veterinary use, are subject to health regulations of both the manufacturing and importing countries. Besides, the Malaysian standard, which include pharmaceutical products, establish broad standards on the manufacture, processing, and storage of halal items that have been published by the government. Next, we move to the halal pharmaceutical sources. For the synthesized sources, the sources and processing of the synthesized sources shall comply with the halal requirement. For the natural sources, the uses of natural sources such as plants, animals, minerals, microorganisms, natural chemicals, and genetically modified organisms may be used for medical purposes as approved by the competent authority. For the plants, all types and plant products and their derivatives are halal except those prohibited by the competent authorities. For the animals, or animals on land and water that are halal to be eaten also can be used by medicinal substance except what has forbidden by the Sharia law. For the minerals, microorganisms, natural chemicals are halal except those prohibited the competent authority. For the GMO, products and or byproducts of GMO or ingredients may be used of genetic materials that are decreed as halal by Sharia law. We move to the halal pharmaceutical processing and handlings. First, all materials are clearly defined with evidence of Sharia law and fatwa compliance. In addition, all necessary facilities and resources for halal compliance are obtainable, including qualified and competent personnel, adequate premises, spaces, utilities and services, dedicated equipment and production lines, approved material, container and label, and so on. Besides, during the manufacturing process, all record must be kept manually and by recording instrument. They must prove that they follow all the procedure and instruction to the letter and that the quantity and quality of the product are as expected. Besides, any major deviations must be truly investigated and documented. Plus, all manufacturing records, including distribution records, are retained and maintained in a comprehensible, legible, and accessible format, allowing the complete history of batch to be traced and the product distribution minimized any risk to their halal status. Furthermore, any batch of product can be recalled from sale or supply using a system, and any complaint concerning advertised item is investigated, as are the causes of halal non-compliance. The proper steps are taken in response to the non-compliance and will avoid recurrence. Next, for the processing and storage area, to avoid the risk of non-halal contaminations, there must be dedicated and self-contained facilities for the manufacturing and storage of halal pharmaceutical products.
Assalamualaikum, back to me ZAIRUL. Next, manufacturing in medical device. The term medical device refers to wide range of medical equipment from high-tech computer to the most basic tongue depressor made of food. According to Medical Device Act 2012, it includes any instrument, apparatus, machine, appliance, implant, in vitro reagent or calibrator, software, material or any related article intended by the manufacturer to be used alone or in combination for human being for such of purposes being mentioned in the Act. So the main reference for the halal medical device is MS 2636 2019 Halal Medical Device General Requirement. So in terms of manufacturing, according to Medical Device Act 2012, Chapter 1, Section 4B, a manufacturer shall ensure that the medical device is manufactured in accordance with good manufacturing practice and any written directive issued by the authorities. While, according to MS 2636 2019, Clause 4.15, the manufacturing operation shall follow clearly defined procedure and comply with the halal principle. Element of manufacturing in medical device. There are three elements of manufacturing, which is sourcing, processing, and storage. Firstly, sourcing. The management must ensure that all resources, including labor, facility, finance, infrastructure, are available. This is to ensure the halal management system can be implemented successfully and effectively. The material may originate from synthetic or natural source or from GMO and must be devoid of nuts. All material, including plant, animal, minerals, microbes, and naturally occurring chemical, may be utilized in medical device if the competent authority approve it. Lastly, the uniqueness in medical device standard is the poisonous, intoxicating, or hazardous natural mineral for health may be utilized for medicinal purpose if the competent authority approve it. This is one of the big difference in terms of sourcing in medical device compared to other Malaysian standard. Next, processing. The most important part in processing is the personnel. The personnel must be provided with continuous training and sufficient training for them to be clear and knowledgeable on halal principle and its application. The activity related to manufacturing the medical device shall be properly recorded as well as maintain the document and records to make it easier to trace back in case there is any situation that require the manufacturer to trace and recall back the product. The halal management system for manufacturing the medical device must comply with the requirement of halal and ISO 13485 which is Medical Device Quality Management System. The processing line for halal medical device need to be dedicated for its only, and the manufacturer shall ensure that all material being used in manufacturing the medical device are being cleaned or sterilized prior to its use. Next, storage. Although most of the apparatus not very sensitive, but for the particular device need to be stored in specific room as requested by the competent authorities. It must be placed with the segregation from any material which are non-halal and not fulfill the requirement by the authorized body. For the medical device that already taken out of operation, it cannot be stored at the same place with other, so it need to be disposed properly as soon as possible. The reason is to minimize or limit any risk of injury, contamination with biological material, or any contaminant, damage, or use. In terms of medical device, this is very crucial to be taken care of because the usage of taken out medical device might cause to very critical and bad impact on the patient condition. So that's all from me. Thank you. For the conclusion, every country has its own legal framework for regulating any scheme for halal industry, including food and beverages, cosmetic, pharmaceutical, slaughterhouse, and medical device. So Malaysia is totally committed to grow the halal industry and realizing its goal of becoming a global halal hub. So the manufacturer shall comply with all standard and regulation determined by authorized body and always keep improving to help the development of halal industry in Malaysia and make Malaysia the center of halal hub. So that's all from us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.